lads, and welcome to The League, exploring the League of Legends lore from A to Z. My name is Rebecca.
And I'm John.
My name is Mark.
Today we're talking about the Tidecaller Nami, who was released December 7th, 2012.
And we are also joined today with a very special guest, Zoe / Jellyfish. Hello.
Yeah, sorry, I don't think my mic picked that up, but I said hello.
Oh, okay.
I'll turn off noise suppression, wait.
No, that's okay.
There we go.
Discord does that. Discord does people dirty. It,
Honestly.
Yeah.
It's like, we don't want to hear what you have to say.
So, tell us a little bit about yourself and why you decided to choose Nami.
So, I mean, I don't even remember exactly why I chose Nami. I think I was just checking, what characters, weren't already, taken, and also, what characters I actually played and that I thought would be interesting. And I think, where is she mentioned? I think she's mentioned in Diana.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, she sounds interesting because she's, related to the Void, and, the Void seems super cool. I was very naive then, didn't realize there was very little lore in the Void. But yeah.
Yeah, poor Nami. She doesn't have a lot going on. John came upstairs yesterday. He normally, it takes him 2 days to, get through all the lore. And he's like, I was done in less than 2 hours. Oh, Jesus, for everything? All of it?
Shockingly, I found nothing that wasn't on the universe page.
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
I found very little, and that's surprising.
Frankly,
Yeah.
I was going to say, I think one of the things on her universe page, she's not actually even in, really.
I know, right?
Yeah.
We got the inverse.
Yeah, I was going to say she has a bio and 3 short stories. No, it's not. It's a comic, a short story, and then the
Field
journal,
guide.
the field guide. And she's not in the field guide?
No, she's just,
Field
Vistayan.
Vistayan's, yeah.
Right. Yeah, I was like, did I space out during this? What happened? Trying to read
Right?
it.
You missed the Nami section? It was very important. It really ties the whole thing together.
Again, the linchpin, I will say, though, overall, I think it's pretty effective for what we've got. I would prefer Riot do more of this, less is more, but it's effective good lore and things. But
Yeah,
we'll get into it, I suppose.
Nami was the first champion I was excited to get released. I remember at the time I must have already decided I liked playing support, I guess. And I was working at Riot at the time. This was a very small window. And what did they call it when they it felt like a science fair when they were showing all the departments would show what they were currently working on.
Show and tell?
Yeah,
Show and tell. Okay,
yeah.
God, I'm dumb. It had very scholastic book fair energy. It was a lot of fun. But they had in one room, they were just displaying champions that were coming out soon, and one of them was Nami. So we got to see a sneak preview of her, and I was like, I can't fucking wait for this champion to come out. And it was the first time I was excited about a
Was it a
champion
kit
release.
thing or a thematic thing?
I think because
both?
it was a new support, and it was probably the first support that was getting released since I decided I liked support. And I at the time Sona, so I wanted other mage healers. Those are the types of support
What if
I like
Sona,
playing.
but mermaid?
But with a voice.
Harder to land skill shots.
So
That's what
get
you
that.
need
I
in
like-
your life.
I like Nami a lot, frankly. I don't play support that much, but I really like Enchanter supports, and I think she's got a great little support kit, frankly.
Yeah.
I think she's really well designed. Egg, is she a big main of yours? Is she just in the roster?
I mean, like any female League of Legends player, I do play a lot of support. I don't play her nearly as much as some other characters, but I really like her kit a lot, and I like that she when there's those supports where when your ADC is gone, you just sit under tower because you're gonna die. Nami isn't like that, which I appreciate.
Yeah, like Sona, oh god, I'm alone.
Yeah, or Yumi, where you're just yes.
Oh, Yumi can never be alone. Even in the fountain, it's a risk.
Honestly.
Yeah.
I distinctly remember a playtest for Nami that I was in, and I was like trying to protect the middle turret while the mid laner was gone, and I got dove, and I distinctly remember getting a double kill with like a double bubble ult under turret. I was like, I am invincible, and I never did anything as good on Nami for the rest of my life.
That was the peak. Did you get any rage, like any like salt from the play test?
It was play test, right? I would hope not.
Oh no, there was a lot of rage in
Really?
Yeah, that's the thing.
Not in that one in particular, but yeah.
Oh man,
the sweetest salt you could ever get is like a play test for like, hey, we're just testing out this champion. The shit might be broken, and people still getting mad about it. That's like I did that with Fizz once, and I knew I loved
Oh, so we're gonna
Fizz
try
after
hard
that.
and play test now? Is that what we're doing? We're try hard and play test? Cool. I guess we'll never know what this champion does if everyone's just gonna try hard and play test.
isn't that the point? Because people are going to try hard in the game, so you need to know what the champion's fully capable.
You know what?
That's
There's
so
no
funny.
logic to salt, man. It's just
That's true. It's like when you win a normal and people are like, "Oh wow, playing like it's ranked." Like, this is my ranked. ARAMs are my normal.
Honestly.
All right, we doing impressions?
Hell yeah, we are.
oh god. Oh no.
Who wants to go first?
Feet are strange.
Oh, I have that written down.
Was that yours? I'm so sorry.
No, I have like 4.
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
good. I was also
Cool.
thinking about
Good.
doing her laugh because it's the thing I spam the most. Yeah,
Honestly.
that's what she sounds like.
All right, I'll do. I only know a couple. I decide what the tide will bring.
I love when Mark has to do female champions, especially when they sound like 15-year-old girls.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, that's great.
All right. You're up, Egg.
Okay. Oh gosh. Ew. Whale breath.
Your voice really lends itself to it, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The ocean will sweep them away.
Nice one.
Wow.
Wasn't even British.
Good.
No, it wasn't. Nice.
Let's go.
I
The
specifically
ocean will sweep them away.
specifically chose a quote that had no R's in it.
Is that what you found out the weaknesses of the champion?
Smart.
Oh.
Modern
Smart.
problems, modern solutions.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Good stuff.
All right. Should I go through the bio?
Sure, take us through
Sure.
the bio by Rayla Hyde.
All right. I took notes for this bio on my phone, so I was bouncing between my phone, like the Google Doc and the bio itself. Gotta tell you, it was a lot of fun. My laptop was dead, and the charger was in the other room.
I understand. You would have had to get up. It would have been a whole thing.
It's honestly really hard right now.
Honestly? Yeah.
All right. Nami was a normal Vestian in the seas west of Targon. Her people are called the Marai. Is that it?
Yeah, the Mariah.
Marai's good. Mariah Carey. Thank you. Also, I'm noticing my phone auto-corrected that to Maria every single time, and I didn't notice.
Nice. She's from the Maria tribe.
All right, the Marai. The beginning of the bio is kind of mostly just about them explaining their this big ritual that's part of their lives. So a long time ago, the Marai, not the Maria, discovered a rift in the ocean that led to the void, I guess, and all its spooky little critters. They never say the void, but everything's purple and it's evil. So that must be what it is.
Honestly. Yeah, the comic made it really seem like it was the void.
Yeah. It's very, very void-like in the comic. Or Morgana. Those are the only purple things in League.
Yeah, honestly.
All right. So the Marai placed a moonstone at the center of the village, which kept the void creatures away, but it begins to dim every 100 years. And when this happens, the Marai have to choose their best warrior as a Tidecaller to dive into the deep abyss and recover an Abyssal Pearl. The Tidecaller brings the pearl up to the surface and trades it with what they call a luminous wanderer, who gives them a moonstone. The luminous wanderer is the aspect of the moon, which we'll find out in a little bit.
Yeah.
So Nami really wanted to be a Tidecaller. My autocorrects. Nami really wanted to beat a Tidecaller.
Won't be dead ass, man.
I mean,
This is so bad.
spoiler alert, but I guess she does.
Ouch! But she auditioned, I don't know, tried out. She was a little too impulsive, so they chose someone named Rasho instead.
Which, weird that someone with Rash in their name is less impulsive, but go off.
Hey, we're not... Your name's John, you're not a toilet.
Well, to be determined. I eat SpaghettiOs a lot.
John, human toilet. All right, anyway, Rasho ended up becoming the first Tidecaller to fail, so good job on that choice, everybody. While everyone argued on what to do, Nami just kind of left and eventually returned with the Pearl and the Tidecaller's staff. We'll see what happens in the comic, what actually went down.
Yeah.
Also, with horror in her eyes, or whatever. People were a little displeased she left like that, but she was named the Tidecaller anyway. When she got to the surface, though, to exchange the pearl for a moonstone, she was told that the aspect of the moon was missing, so now Nami is one of the many people trying to find out where the fuck Diana is.
It's like a whole where in the world is Carmen Sandiego situation.
I think that's like the 5th time we've referenced that, but it is, goddamn if it's not appropriate, right?
I mean, she's just with the Sentinels or something.
Yeah.
Anyway,
once again, Rise of the Sentinels just ruining shit. Just things you wouldn't think would get ruined are also getting retroactively fucked over.
Honestly.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, I liked this. It had little to do with Nami for a while, but I like the lore behind her people. I for some reason thought she was going to have a Fizz story where like everyone was dead except for her, so I was like pleasantly surprised it wasn't that. But the exchange of the pearl for the moonstone every 100 years is just a fun little fantasy thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting too, because I feel like we don't, outside of like I need this for my people, we don't get to know a whole lot about what the importance of the Abyssal Pearl is.
Yeah, we don't know. They say it like they also need it to help their people, but we don't know why.
So like without that information, it just kind of seems like the aspect of the moon is being like a kind of a dick about this. Like, oh, the void's gonna come and destroy everything. Okay, cool. Well, I could give you this thing that I can apparently just conjure.
Yeah,
but you're gonna need to do something for me too.
Yeah, I need you to risk your life to get me some jewelry, please.
I gotta get my drip on.
I was gonna say those pearls are fire, man. Like,
they're pretty huge.
yeah, it's a little, I don't want to say like transparent. I mean, it's very like, hey, you need this MacGuffins and stuff, and it's like every 100 years, like, but it's a strong setup. Okay, here's like my controversial take on Nami overall. She's a better realized Lilia, because very similar. And that she's like, this is a new world she's going out into to get something, but like the rules and stakes are all super like well defined. Like, hey, you need to go get this specific thing, and here's the specific person, and here's the specific stakes. And it's a little okay. This like the Abyssal Pearl, we don't really know what it does. The point is that it props up this character journey and shit, right? And this adventure, you know. Which I'm fine with.
Yeah, so. And they never seem to needed to know what the Abyssal Pearl does. It's like, this is what we have to give you to not all die. Okay, we'll do that.
Sure.
She's like Mermaid Poppy, just walking around with this thing. Like, are you the warrior I give this thing to? Yeah. She's gonna find out she was the wanderer the whole time.
The moonstone was in her the whole time. Yeah.
You don't even build moonstone on Nami.
Diana has retired. The new aspect of the moon is Nami.
You know what? I would be fine with that as a conclusion to the Nami story. Because I don't know what partially because she's never ever gonna find Diana. That shit is never gonna happen. If you want my opinion.
Yeah. Because it also mentions that like her staff can like pull her towards Diana or whatever. It says that in the short story.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, if it can pull her towards Diana, why hasn't she found her yet? Like, how long has she been wandering?
I completely agree, frankly, and I wish
Diana's
that it wasn't.
She's really fast. Every time she
power walks everywhere.
To where Diana was, she's already dashed 8 times.
I was gonna say, yeah, she got the dash. You know.
Meanwhile, this poor mermaid is trying to walk on land.
How does she do that?
It does explain it.
Where?
Yeah.
They say she summons a pool of tide so that she's always in the water underneath her.
Oh my god, I must have missed that. I was literally just imagining dragging herself through the fucking mud.
Before it got to that, it was literally my first note in my notes though. Just like, how's she walk though? But then they explained it.
That makes I don't know why that's what she literally does in the fucking game. Dumbass.
Water.
It's like Free Willy when they're
I wrote that she gets herself some floating water in my notes.
That's it. Yeah.
True dat.
Sure.
Is it in the story? I read the story.
I
Yeah, I
want to
think
say
it
it's
is
in
at the
bio.
beginning
Oh
when they
my
like
God.
describe her from the villager's point of view.
Yeah, they definitely do it in the story. I want to say it's in the bio even that she like,
Oh, jeez, that's not good.
but I could be
Yeah,
wrong.
it's like the
Oh,
last
yeah.
3 lines or something.
Using the power of the mystical Tidecaller staff to summon a perpetual pool of moving water beneath her fins, Nami took to land to continue her quest. I did write that because I knew I'd forget.
Oh,
And then I forgot I had written it.
Smart.
God. Imagine seeing that. Horrifying.
There's a lot I'd be horrified to see. This would be on the bottom of the list if I lived in Runeterra.
I guess
In
that's
Runeterra?
fair.
Yeah, that's relatively normal.
Although not the people seemed very frightened. Well, not frightened, but startled by her, I guess.
Now, I had a question about that.
Oh, okay.
So, we know that, at least vaguely, Bilgewater is aware of the Mirai. And it never says that, like, the Mirai are all over the place and this just happens to be the specifically Targon ones. They were like, oh, the Mirai is a tribe that is next to Targon. So somehow, Bilgewater was, became aware of this tribe from, like, way on the other side of the map. Yet, the fucking village right next to where the Mirai live and trade every, I guess 100 years is a long time, but still, there's at least stories passed down. They're still like, wait, what the fuck is this? A mermaid?
I mean, 100 years is enough that, like, your great-grandpa would have told you about
Honestly.
meeting the mermaid.
Yeah.
I was wondering if maybe it's because like they seem to like really hate Diana, so maybe she was just really careful to avoid them when these exchanges happened. But like, it still seems a little odd that they would have like never even cited them. Like, you think they would mention like a legend that the town has or something, but they don't. So it's like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that, and like it also kind of casts a weird sort of timeline when it comes to the Lunari, because it's like, oh, there must have been a chosen of the moon or aspect of the moon within the last century or so, when it seems like they've been gone for a while. Does that make
It's
sense?
true. Like, who did this before Diana 100 years ago?
If it was like 200 years or something, would that just like fix it? If it was just like a little bit more time?
I think so,
That
because in
feel-
Runeterra, really 100 years doesn't feel like a lot.
yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
That's like
It says on the
4 Heimers.
I mean, humans can live to be over
Honestly.
100. So.
yeah. And if you're like something that's not human, forget about it, right? I think even
seen
Nami is
18 of these,
almost
yeah.
200 years old or some crazy shit.
Yeah.
So it's like,
I found it funny too that what did they call her? I think they called her like a teenager or some sort, or like an adolescent. And it's like she's almost 200 years old, so I was just kind of like, how long do they live?
It's
sure.
like
It's
elven
almost like
timeline.
yeah, like elves kind of, and like a fantasy, like traditional D&D type situation where hundreds
Yeah.
of years, which I think is fine. It's a neat detail for like I know we complain a bunch about like, oh, these champions are so old and it doesn't make sense, but it's cool when it's fine when it's like the Mirai or some other weird non-human species, you know?
Yeah.
Frankly, I think that's fine. But yeah, 100 years, you definitely would have heard about the last time they dropped off a moonstone or some old bullshit like that. You know?
Yeah. Or that there was another aspect of the moons. Because they made it
Yeah,
seem like
that
a very
too, really.
big deal that Diana had become an aspect of the moon. There was one less than 100 years ago. It's not really
Sure.
that big of a deal. I don't feel like.
Yeah.
You're nothing special, Diana.
Yeah. Freaking nerd.
I'm intrigued about the logistics behind the summoning of the moonstones too. Like, if it's
Do you think she
something that
lays
they
it
can
like an egg, or?
Well, I wasn't until right this second.
Oh, that's not what you were talking about. Okay.
It's like a hairball, like,
Do you think she does it like a cat, like a?
I like
Anyway,
the egg scenario.
Yeah.
Me too.
Well, what I was curious about was if she can only do it every 100 years.
Or she could just give him like 10 moonstones, but they'd all only last 100 years.
Yeah, but I mean, if she can conjure them pretty easily, and they do hold the void back, I can see some real good uses for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some potentially unexplored.
But that was another thing. I was like, because it's like a rift, right? Like, you think that you could just, like, I don't know, line it with Moonstone or something. Like, maybe that would be too complicated to, like, redo. But it just seemed like, I don't know, it seemed like there would be a lot more effective ways to fight against the void if you can just conjure Moonstone that easily.
Yeah, sure. You grind it up, you get some aggregate, and you just fill out the rift with it.
Yeah,
This is all what I'm talking about when I say that, like, some of the details of it are a little fuzzy or a little clearly like, hey, this is just a setup that we need to kind of give this character a thrust. You know, and if you did more with Nami, you might want to answer some of these questions or tweak it a little, you know, because otherwise it's just a clear MacGuffin.
I could see maybe they can only create one Moonstone every 100 years, and then
Sure.
there would be, and Diana or whoever it was would not be aware that this rift is the void, and that there are other rifts that are causing trouble, you know. And then there's this dilemma of like, I have one Moonstone, where do I put it? What entrance of the void is the most dangerous? Give it to Kaisa, I guess.
She'd know what to do with this.
Sorry,
Would
Nami.
it affect her, though? Because she's, like, part
That's
void?
true.
Oh,
Just rips
fuck.
her skin off.
That would
I
be
have so
cool.
many questions.
Ouch.
Now, 2 minor gripes with this story.
Okay.
Sure.
One, they refer to the staves that they wield as bathy staves. And they just say it like that's a fucking thing. And they just move on.
I noticed that too. I was like, what? I looked it up and I didn't find anything.
Right?
Okay.
Like, there's some weapon I haven't heard of. I looked at them fucking nut. They just made up a word. They used it. They didn't describe it. They were like, this is a bathystaff. We all know what a bathystaff is. Good. Moving on.
You just described fantasy as a genre.
I feel like most of the time they're like, here's this wiggle woggle. It's pointy on one end and shiny on the other.
You know, when I say, like, Gundame, when it comes to, like, Misfortune's mom, you can kind of intuit what that means. But bathystaff? Like, I assume it's like a bathysphere, but
I know.
what the fuck
I
does
think
that
of a
mean?
bathysphere.
It's a staff you take in the bath with you.
But they live in the
Rubber
water. All day, every day is a bath.
That's why they always have them.
The sea is their bath.
Ew. And their toilet.
Hey.
Gross. Other minor gripe, and this is mitigated because there is a comic, but I mean I hate to make back-to-back Seinfeld references on the podcast, but they really fucking yada 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 over the most compelling part of her entire bio. Like, the whole thing's about this big trip, and they're like, oh, then she goes down to the void, yada, yada, yada. Then she comes back up from the void. I was like, wait, what? What? Excuse me, what? What the fuck happened down in Tell me that. That sounds interesting. So if there wasn't a comic that got into this, I'd be real pissed. But as of now, I'm just...
Gripe.
You know, yeah, I'm just ornery.
No, I sympathize. I mean, I completely agree, right? Like, I do find that sometimes we're harsher on the bios because they don't have the supplementary material, but this one does, at least for that. So it's like, you can't find too much fault with it, you know? But I do agree.
Did we want to jump to the comic since it is so directly related to the bio?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, makes sense. I'm curious through on this one.
It's pretty straightforward.
Hold on, I've got the credits. Can I just say, God bless Riot for not only linking this, but also there's a nice little credits page at the end, which, you know,
Yes.
sometimes they don't always do, but God bless them. I guess the credits, but for some reason, as I have it up, okay, there they are. Yeah, so writer Rayla Hyde, I think she wrote everything related to Nami. Art and cover by Viviana Medeiros, editor Ellie Pyle, art director Eric Canete, production artist Gabriella Downey, and logo design Idette Winecourt. So good job, everyone. Really liked this piece overall. But yeah, it's a comic. This is like we've been saying, it's following Nami's descent down to go get the pearl, while the rest of the Mirai are locked in. Oh, what do we do? What do we do? Our Tidecaller hasn't come back. I think it's been like 2 weeks since they sent Rasho down to go get it.
Unlike the bio, which says it was a month, but, whatever.
Oh.
Yeah, that might be a minor thing. I didn't even know, like, maybe it's like this journey is supposed to be across days in the comic, whatever. But Nami's going down. She's going down into the dark, and, it's kind of her reflecting on what it's like as she's descending, reflecting on the ocean and continuing to delve down, and eventually she kind of starts coming into contact with, I think they call it the murk. I think that's how they refer to the void space. But she starts coming into shit that is very clearly the void. Has to get rid of her staff at one point to kind of lure the void away, and gets down to the rift that's down at the core of all of this. And a figure kind of comes out and starts talking to her, and it's like, oh, it's Rasho. We can take the pearl. We can get back up. And Rasho is not okay. He is fucked up. He is rocking a third void eye, kind of like Malzahar, and she kind of realizes that I've got to. Things are not cool. So she takes a hold of the Tidecaller staff, and she actually does kill Rasho with it. Kind of pierces through him, and it just kind of like eats away at him, and he's kind of like, I assume, turned into nothingness. I don't know, but she gets the pearl, she gets the staff, and she gets back out. I mean, that's like the quick summary of it. It's what the bio essentially says, but the experience of reading it is very cool, because the way that the comic is like formatted is, instead of going like, oh, you just scroll across pages, you're just constantly scrolling down through the comic, and it's an excellent way of like, oh, the same sensation of Nami, descending down into the depths to have to go get this fucking pearl, right?
It was very cool. You get like that immediate sense of like depth and discomfort. And then you get to the point where she loses her staff, and then like everything's black as you're scrolling down too. It was just like, this was the perfect way to do this comic. It was so good.
Yes. Yeah, I really like the art. There's actually a bit in it. There's a bit in it as well. I kind of skimmed over it, where it has like a little flashback to her and her mom, I want to say. And her mom is essentially retelling, this is the legend of the Moonstone and stuff. But even then, the art style actually changes a bit, and it becomes these kind of more rudimentary kind of drawings showing the legend. And then it pulls back like the camera, and we see, oh, these are like the actual wall like paintings that the Mirai have done around this, which is neat. And then, like you said, yeah, she loses her staff, which is her source of light, and then all of the art, like I said, it's all black, and then it's all done like line work over like a black background to showcase, like trying to show like, oh, she's stuck in the dark, which is also really, it's cool. It's like you're playing around with like the format of it and the fact that it's a visual medium, which I just like, oh, this is great. I love this. It's interesting to look at and read and go through. Props all around.
Yeah, this was a highlight of the Nami lore for sure.
Yeah.
So, like, where are these pearls coming from?
The abyssal ones?
Yeah. Do they grow there? Why are they so near the void?
Yeah,
it's a good question.
Because,
I would like to know
generally considering
more.
how pearls are grown, I'm curious.
Where's the clam? Oyster.
That's a good question. It would be great if she had
the whole
like,
void is the oyster.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And what would
I was thinking like,
irritate
big
the
void clam.
Oyster.
At first,
Voids.
I got really confused. Oh.
Sorry.
It's okay. At first, I got really confused when I saw the artwork for the Abyssal Pearl, though, because it looked exactly like what I imagined the Moonstone would look like.
Yeah,
Just because it was like glowing and everything. I don't know. I expected it to be purple because, void. And
Yeah.
it just, like, I feel like it perfectly matched the way, like, Nami was drawn, and so it's just, I just felt that made it seem even weirder that it was close to the abyss, because it looked like it should have been like a part of the Mirai tribe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think if you had made it something that was, that would be a nice thing to do, like going forward, if you wanted to do more stuff with Nami and the Pearl, is have it be a weirder thing. Maybe it's like, it's almost a burden to kind of carry it around with her and shit. Like, it's a little void pearl. Like, you can do a lot of stuff with that,
Yeah, and she could begin to wonder what the hell they need these pearls for, or what they're using them for.
Sure.
Yeah.
But
she accidentally unlocks the secret or like something. Like
It hatches.
it hatches.
I like it. But yeah, I really like this comic. I also really like, especially near the end sequence. There's a lot of like I think Nami's face is there's a lot of emotion. She emotes very well in this, and even though the ending line is she's like, "Ooh, the dark, I face the dark and it fears me" type situation, which kind of reads very triumphant. But everything about her face, like looking back at what she's gone through, is not triumphant. She seems very scared and kind of disturbed by everything she's gone through, which makes sense. And I just think I just really like the way it kind of filled me in, I guess, into what she was feeling and where the character was at. And I like that she, as much as she was resolute in doing this duty, was still like genuinely seemed to be affected by what all she'd gone through. It's like, oh, that's cool. I like that,
I also love that when she did encounter Rasho, like, she did not hesitate even a little bit. Yeah. Like, he was in the middle of like that villain's first act join me bargaining speech, and she jumped straight to the end of the movie where the villain gets murdered. She's like, "Oh, I don't even know where this is going, and I gotcha."
No one was around.
Dipped.
Yeah, she
Sure.
just dipped.
Maybe that's what I'm liking about Nami, is that there's a relatable vulnerability to her, but a nice a determined core to the character where she will go and do things that are dangerous because they need to be done, and she'll stab Rasho because it needs to happen,
She's a decision maker. I admire it. She always knows what she wants for dinner.
You mentioned, I think at the beginning of Impressions, that she sounds kind of like a 15-year-old girl. She reminds me of every very young main character in a fantasy novel.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, I know where this is going.
Sure.
That's true.
Yeah.
Something that stuck out to me near the end. You mentioned there was that big kind of triumphant scene, and everyone's kind of carrying Nami around on their shoulders.
They're carrying her off the field, even like Rudy.
The idea of underwater creatures carrying other underwater creatures on their shoulders underwater is hilarious.
It's a zero effort task.
She starts floating out of their hands.
Right. Oh God, grab her. I didn't think about that.
I also felt like that clashed with the bio a bit, just because they were didn't it say they were very much annoyed at her?
Right? They're a little
but
pissy.
When they said they were all celebratory. They were like, "Oh my God, she's returned."
Yeah.
For she's a jolly good fellow flipper.
Mimno? No, there's a joke there somewhere.
We can't
yeah,
find
I
it.
agree.
Maybe
I was
somebody
literally
else
about
can.
to say that. I like the comic interpretation more, because I like. It's like you would easily recognize here's somebody who did the job that needed to get fucking done.
Right.
Let's
we
not
were gonna
quibble.
die, and now we're not gonna die. So I'm not gonna waste time bitching at this person who made it. So I'm not gonna die.
Also, that staff seems like a really big loss. Even getting that back.
Yeah, honestly,
Yeah.
right? They'd be fucked without that thing, right? Because it was down at the bottom of the trench or whatever.
Yeah.
Man, I wonder what would have happened if it had stayed down there much longer. Could have gotten void corrupted. We ended up with a dark Tidecaller staff. That'd be pretty cool.
That is cool. That would be a fun thing to put against Nami, maybe, if you wanted to give her a nice a villain or something. That could be fun.
The Tide
Ultimate
Staller.
Universe, Void Nami.
Yeah, I was thinking it'd be a fun skin actually.
Yeah.
They should, honestly. I mean, especially with we see with Belveth, there's a lot of kind of ocean underwater sort of imagery that they've been doing with the Void lately. So
Yeah.
it feels like you could easily step into this space with it too. I don't know.
Yeah, I never knew the Void was down in the water. I always associate it with it Shurima, in that area. But nope, desert, water, they love it all.
The Void be everywhere. So say I.
Okay, pre-work gangplank making an appearance.
Somebody sounded like.
Yeah, I like this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry.
Who wants
No
to
worries.
walk us through first steps.
Oh my gosh.
Motherfucker.
I don't have notes, but I think we can figure it out.
Yeah. I can do it as well if y'all want, or
Sure.
Take us home.
I don't have notes either, so go for it.
Hell yeah.
this one's also by Ray Lahide, although not credited on the universe page. But the wiki got her, so thanks wiki. I think we talked about this a little bit with Diana, but it is following Nami. She has, I guess, recently kind of set out on her journey to get that moonstone. So she's at like a little Targonian village, kind of coastal village, and she's just coming up on this village, and she's looking for the aspect of the moon, and it's all pretty new to her, and there's like this weird sort of like dancing light spirit that she'd never seen before, and it seems to dance around on little bits, and everyone in the village is just staring at her, mouth agape. And she's kind of got this awkward like, "Hi, I'm looking for the aspect of the moon, if anyone can help me with that." And then an elder sort of steps forward and is like, "Is the moon friend or foe?" And Nami kind of takes the very practical approach of like, it doesn't make sense that anyone would declare the moon itself to be your enemy.
Yeah,
So
right,
she's like,
Nami? You're right.
Meet
Yeah, she
humans.
is. She is completely right. But she's like, the moon's my friend. And immediately the elder's like, "Heretic, monster." And she's like, foe, I meant foe.
She said fiend.
Yeah.
It was such a
Fiend.
good last second fix too. I'm surprised it didn't
Oh, that was
work.
great.
Yeah.
She must have
But,
really failed
so-
her persuasion roll on that one.
Yes, I had that exact sensation of reading this. I'm like, that's exactly some shit I would expect to happen at a table.
Yeah.
Right? Nat 1 on the persuasion roll. And they all start dipping their weapons in, like, I guess oil or something and lighting them on fire. Maybe this is even some of the burning ones from, like, way back in Aphelios. I know some of the Solari do some of that. But I think what happens is that one of the, like, a youth kind of, like, is scared by something that Nami does, and he stumbles backwards, and long story short, the whole village kind of catches fire as a big accident. And while everyone else is rushing to try and put it out, Nami, she kind of catches it like, "Oh, they want water. I can help with that." Kind of calls forth the big, she almost ults essentially. And even like when she's ulting, she's like, "Please stand out of the way." And then pulls forward this big sort of like tentacle tidal wave of water and puts out all the fire and saves everyone's ass. And it's like, okay, well, sorry for the interruption. I'll move on. And then kind of as she's leaving, the elder's like, "Fire, by the way." 'Cause she had asked like, "Oh, what is that thing that is causing all this chaos? What is that?" And she didn't know, right? And the elder's like, it's fire. It's useful, but sometimes it's a little, what's the word he uses? It's a little...
Irrational.
Yeah, irrational. And also Ionia. If you're looking for the aspect of the moon, Ionia. It's a land very, very far away in this direction. And so she's like, "Oh, yes, fire. Thank you. Fire. I like that." And she starts heading off to go to Ionia. Or not. I don't know.
Right? Man, you just missed her. She was just on Targon. Just like a little... And then she went to Piltover and Zahn right after that, and then Ixtal, and then Bilgewater,
Oh, no.
and then Shadow Isles. In fact, the group she was traveling with was just in Ionia, but she wasn't with them at the time, so who knows where she is now.
Oh my god.
Yeah. We won't...
She was also in Ionia, but grabbing lunch.
Hey, the moon's gotta eat.
Yeah, we won't talk about the Rise of the Sentinels part, but this one's pretty fun too. I think it's like I was saying, it reminds me a lot of like a Lilia type where everything's new to her. She doesn't know what fire is, but she's got a little bit more of like I said, more of a resolute core to her. So she will kind of, instead of Lilia like running away, she'll like stand around and help with stuff or like engage with people and things, which is like just a little more interesting to read and see.
Yeah, and she wasn't like at all afraid of them. She was like, I quite literally stared into the abyss, and it stared back. And I also like how
and then I stabbed it through the fucking chest. Didn't even think twice.
I feel like the young, irrational character, like hero, is, it's a bit of a cliche, but I like that she's also extremely polite and friendly and kind, which I feel like is not a combination that you get very much. And they somehow managed to do this without making it feel too much like The Little Mermaid, which is really nice, because Ariel's also got that thing going on of like, what's this, a fork, or whatever she does.
She's not an idiot, I think, is the important part. Is like, she doesn't know what it is, but she can intuit like, oh, this thing is fucking up their village, and obviously water is working against it, and it's like she can put 1 and 2 together. Instead of being like, ooh, what is this fire? And she reaches out and like burns herself or some bullshit. So
the little interaction with the elder at the end. I don't know if you got this too, Mark. I got huge train heist from Firefly vibes, like the
God,
very
John,
end
you
of
and
it.
Firefly references.
Like when they gave the medicine back, and he's like, man's got to make a living, but once they learn the facts, learn the truth of things out here, well, then they got a choice. And then he's like, I don't think they do. It was like another one of those really heavy-handed metaphor things. It's like, I'm talking about us right now. I'm not going to say I'm talking about us, but I'm talking about us right now. Yeah. That's what I got at the end of this one, too. It's very, like very heavy-handed metaphor there.
Yeah. I'm fine.
Especially
since
they used the word irrational. I would have loved if it was a word that was more easily applicable to humans and fire.
Sure, if you could find something a little more subtle, maybe.
Yeah.
I'm fine with it for the most part, because like it only really crops up in that little end sequence. If there had been like a couple more instances of people doing that, it would have been like, okay, I get it. Stop hitting me over the head with it. When it's just like once, it's like, okay, that's fine, especially for like a little short color story. Like we don't have the most real estate. I did like it overall. Like I liked him. I like that interaction, or like when you've got someone who kind of comes off initially as like antagonistic, but can kind of check themselves a little. That's nice. Again, they're not idiots. Like every character is kind of behaving a little more reasonably than like they just pick one stance and never ever ever change. It's nice to have people change a little bit, or like react in a way that's a little more like reasonable.
Yeah, you don't normally get that from Solari.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
And all it took was their village burning down.
That was actually something I didn't like that much about the story, though, because it was like, I don't know, it seemed like a very quick switch, which makes sense on one hand. That is, like, obviously they'd be thankful that she saved their village. But I'm kind of surprised that none of them were like, she's the reason that our village was burning to begin with. Like, even though it wasn't really her fault.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I expected it to end. And I was like, oh no, it's the good ending.
Sure.
I expected that too, actually, yeah.
Yeah, it was just kind of like, on one hand, okay. On the other hand, the way that they started immediately, like, brandishing their weapons at her when she clearly had no clue what was going on was just like, I did not expect rational thinking from them.
Sure.
Didn't seem to be in the right headspace.
Yeah, that what that could have also been fun is to have maybe some people like the Elder are kind of like more swayed, and then they've got some holdouts, and that could be like a lesson that Nami leaves with is this like I've learned that sometimes they're these what does she call them, oversky? Is that what she refers to like land as? Right?
Oh, I don't know. I missed it.
I know she called the humans like land walkers, I think.
Yeah. I thought she referred to like the whole like land space as like the oversky or something like that. But it would have been a nice like learning moment, right? That like sometimes they just pick a fucking stance and they don't change,
Yeah.
Which is
sometimes
realistic.
You have to snuff some fires out. That'd be her dark way of
lights on.
I like that when she saw the Elder, he was like wearing all of these robes, and she was like, he must be important or very cold.
Yeah.
And then she's confused that they even wear clothes. She's like, what do I do this for? Because they're all just leaky.
Makes sense, right? But yeah. And then I guess little writing thing is that the thing that kicks off the fire is they've got like some sort of pack animal, I don't know what, that gets spooked by like a fire and kind of kicks a cart, and it causes things to kind of go off. But I like that thing shows up a little bit earlier in the story, right? It's a nice little, I don't know about Chekhov's gun per se, but like rather than just like I don't know, you set it up a little bit, like that there's a thing here and it's been established, so then when it's there and reacting, it makes sense rather than like, oh, you just added this thing in to get the fire going around. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, I get you.
Sure.
You know, consequential set dressing.
Yeah. Little things where it's like, oh, this feels like tightly written, I guess I might say, rather than just like, oh, we're just throwing crap in to get to the points we want to get to. I don't know.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. Now, I know this story wasn't technically about Nami, but since it was linked here, and it is by Anthony Birch, there's also the Edward Santagello's Vastaya Field Guide.
I forgot that was by Birch.
Yeah, that's another one that's not credited.
Do we want to go through that? If y'all want to... Because I didn't reread it for this. I remember the very high level stuff. I think it's mostly just explaining like what Vastaya are and like his this author's experience with firsthand with a few of them.
Yes.
Yeah, I definitely remember. It is good. It is funny. I highly recommend it. But
so, I mean, we recently started watching our Flag Bean's death, and after watching that, I read this entire thing in like Rice Darby's voice as his character in that show, and they're the same character. The gentleman pirate, and
yeah, I was gonna say that's yeah. I can't remember the actor's name for some. Is it Reese or Wright?
Probably Reese. Who knows?
I thought
I don't know how to pronounce names.
I thought you meant that was the character's name, and I was like, who the fuck is that? And he means Steed. I could see that. Yeah. Yeah,
it certainly. I certainly see where you're seeing that similarity for sure, right? Because he's very. You know what this made me feel like was like there are some pieces in the old JOJ that sometimes have this kind of of feeling to them. You know,
it's true.
Yeah, this was like
when they're not being
a
creepy.
better written Journal of Justice article.
Yes, yeah. This is like absolutely agreed.
Speaking of which, I know after. You know, we've mentioned Anthony Birch in the past. Y'all recommended Dungeons and Daddies to us, which we did start the other day.
We are still on the first episode,
and it's pretty funny. I did finish it and then move on to the second one just because I had been doing some jogging. So, but it's very good.
I see.
Trouble in paradise over there.
John, how dare you?
I see. We have Sophie podcasts we listen to when we drive long distances.
I know, but you never want to listen to podcasts.
Not when I'm driving, because they make me sleepy. Someone else has to be driving.
But yeah, that's pretty much it for this one.
Thanks. Yeah.
Wasn't very Mirai heavy.
No, not at all. This is not related to this, but to the previous one, First Steps. I really like the art that is on that story as well.
Oh yeah.
It's just a kind of a profile shot of like Nami's upper half, but it's really well done, and I would be curious to see who the artist is, and I would love to see just like more pieces in just of Nami. I think she's cool. A neat little mermaid kind of setup, or design rather.
Yeah.
Or Vastayan, whatever.
Yeah. You know what? This is what I mean when I say like Nami is a better realized like Lilia, because with Lilia it was like, oh, she's some weird dream font thing, but like, and I remember we even said like, why isn't she Vastayan? And with Nami it's like, she's Vastayan. It makes perfect sense. Like, you've got this thing, this idea, like make sure some characters properly fit into it, like Nami, perfect. So, but yeah. I also want to see what Nami looks like. I almost want like a helmetless Kale skin where she doesn't have the crown, because it was a little interesting in the comic when she didn't have it.
You do see her in the comic. It took a second to recognize her as Nami, because you're so used to seeing the helmet on her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How we all feeling?
Yeah. Any final thoughts on canon Nami?
It's pretty good for what's here. I think she's got a lot of potential, and I think it's kind of a shame because I get the decided fishy stink that Riot's not really going to do anything with her for a while, if ever, which is kind of a shame. I think she's got a nice setup for like a clear little, adventure. She's got a clear goal, which is nice.
Clear ties to the void. with the Void event coming up. This is gonna be like the Void events Maokai and Yorick, I'm sure.
Yeah, I am curious how well they're gonna handle, because they have the Void set up in so many places, and it would be great if they honestly did include every single one of those places and how they're handling the Void.
Ooh, that would be so good.
Yeah.
And even just like maybe release like just another little short story.
Yeah.
Like they don't have to include her in the in-game event, just another little piece to tell us that they haven't forgotten about her.
Right.
Yeah.
I would love her to almost catch up to Diana. Like, the end of the short story is Diana, like, disappearing into some shit right before Nami finds her. Something like that.
And then the staff's not even pulling her anymore towards where. That's how, like, far gone she is.
Diana goes to the Void.
Sure. Yeah.
She's got enough entrances to choose from.
Honestly.
That's what she
She's
said.
spoiled for choice. Now, there was a previous version of the bio. I know she didn't really have much old lore, but there was a previous version of the bio. There's not really a lot different. It's just a little less specific, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, Rasho doesn't exist.
Yeah, they didn't call out Rasho.
I think the other... Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, yeah, the other big one was, like... It wasn't... they didn't necessarily just, like, choose a Tidecaller from their tribe. Like, a Tidecaller would show up, and then a Tidecaller hadn't showed up, and they're like, well, I guess we'll just wait then. She's like, but we kind of need this. I'm just gonna go. I'll be back in like 10. I'm just gonna go.
Yeah, that's even more in line with like the Poppy thing, right? Where it's like, is she actually the Tidecaller? Because it's like whoever answers the call, right? But it does make the Mariah kind of look like they're just twiddling their thumbs. Like, it'll be a real shame when this fucking Moonstone gives out eventually or whatever.
But that feels very realistic.
I was gonna say.
Yeah, I almost like it better.
Yeah.
I find it so much like not. I feel like it really, because we don't really see that much of Nami's like impulsiveness. Like, yeah, she went to the surface without a plan, but she couldn't really make a plan in like first steps because she had no idea what to expect. Whereas like if she was just like, well, like screw this, like no one's gonna go, so I'll go, whatever. I feel like that really adds to the impulsiveness.
Yeah, I agree, actually. I as you mention it, I do kind of wish that there was... that'd be a nice thing to show if they did another story with her, is to show some of that. Because the bio does say, like, oh, she's very impulsive and rash. But it mostly just seems like she just does things that need to be done, because otherwise it's a big fucking problem, right? So
their definition of impulsive is not sitting on your ass.
Yeah, apparently.
She's decisive.
She's decisive, yeah.
Right.
I guess that's true. Compared to them, she is pretty impulsive.
She is fish of action.
Yeah.
All right. Nice. Well, Egg, thank you so much for joining us today.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it was a pleasure.
Sounds fun.
Now, if people want to find you or anything, that sounded creepy, but
On the in the internet space.
where could people follow you?
What's your social security
How about
number?
follow? That sounds less creepy than find.
What is my home address?
I need mother's maiden name. I need,
I have a Twitch.
Oh, great.
It's twitch.tv/jellyfishfraud. All like lowercase one word. Yeah. Instagram handle is the same, and yeah, that's pretty much it. I've been streaming a little more frequently now that it's almost summer. So yeah.
What do you play usually?
Yeah, I was gonna ask.
I play. I mean, because I kind of alternate between League and Valorant.
Yeah.
So it kind of alternates between those two. Occasionally Genshin Impact. It kind of depends on what like my friends are doing. So yeah, a lot of mid lane League gaming.
Nice.
Nice.
Nami mid,
for sure.
Oh yeah.
I have played Nami mid. I got my Master 6 through that.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Is it viable? Could I try
It
it?
depends. It's really, really good if you're going into an assassin who is not level 6.
Okay.
If you can get like 2 kills before they're level 6, you're good to go. Like, you win easy.
That sounds like a lot of
Interesting.
pressure.
That does
It'll be
sound like
level
a lot
6 eventually.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, thanks again, and
Yeah,
y'all should go follow her on Twitch.
Yes, thank you.
All right. AUs.
Y'all ready for this?
The slew of Nami AUs. I'm ready.
Yeah, there's got to be so many of them. Let me look. I normally like to look up the skins and like look at them when he's doing this, but I feel like this is one champion that I actually know her skins very well.
Yeah,
It's
you probably
rare.
know most of them. Well, we're gonna start out with Fables. I'm gonna.
Are we gonna start, or are you gonna die?
I had to grab a computer.
He's so
It's a better
old.
angle. I'm not old. I just had to reach my arm out. It would have been hard for anyone. Ahem, Fables. Set in a mythological world, each champion represents a mythological god, hero, villain, or creature. And this one is River Spirit Nami.
All right. I was like, it's Koi or River Spirit.
Once upon a time, a young farmer was enchanted by music coming from the deep jungle and followed it to the grove of a river spirit. Overcome by her beauty, he went to embrace her and was dragged screaming into the emerald waters below, never to be seen again.
Oh my god.
Shit.
This is not. Normally it's like Diana, but she's a cowgirl. This one is very different.
Now, interestingly, this does have a short story associated with it.
Oh.
It was only released in Brazil, and it was translated into English by someone on the wiki.
Oh.
But yeah, this tells the elongated version of the story of River Spirit Nami, which, for the record, contradicts thematically a little bit with her with her skin blurb. But basically, we learn that the ocean-dwelling folk have moved to lakes and rivers. But one day, a promising witch doctor found a note in her cabin explaining that these creatures were dying due to human pollution, and to retrieve a mirror from the lake nearby to speak to them directly. When she got to the lake, however, it was perfectly clear. It didn't look like there was any pollution, which kind of made her a little suspicious, but she dove down anyway and got the mirror. And then when she surfaced, it turns out it was a trap. She got ambushed by her own people who were jealous of what a promising witch doctor she was becoming, so they killed her in the water. Oh. Luckily, it was a full moon that night. And under the full moon, nature took pity on her, and she was reborn as Nami Iara, a guardian of the natural world, with even more power than she had in life.
Oh.
That is very Fable in its construction.
Yeah.
You know what's interesting to me? I saw on the wiki that she has some extra like VO or different like extra voice lines specifically in Brazilian, and it makes me curious, like that combined with that, if there's like some like cultural thing that maybe I'm not aware of. I'd be curious if someone knows what that is.
Yeah, if you know anything about this, let us know. We're intrigued.
Like, is this like a really well-known like an adaptation of a really well-known like fable or like story or something like that? That I don't know. It's interesting, you know.
It sounds like it would be for sure.
Yeah. The last name especially was very specific, like Nami Iara. Like I'm curious if Iara is one of those.
Sure.
Next up, we've got Forgotten Depths, where each skin represents a legend of the deep, similar to the tall tales of the deep sea. And they're all told, as if someone was telling the story of having encountered this creature. So I will be reading it like a pirate.
Oh, hell yeah.
And this is Deep Sea Nami. I saw her, where light ceases and one is alone with the cold darkness and the sea. She appeared before me, a wordless ancient thing, pulsing with an unearthly luster, as vicious shapes twisted in the gloomy beyond.
That was beautiful.
Well done.
Is she just really gigantic?
She
Yeah,
is.
she's big.
Oh.
I like the big Nami.
Yeah, because I'm I like big Namis and I cannot lie. You other more I can't
like the
deny.
big Nami. Think of how big her chest is.
Boing.
Thank you.
Why does she even have them? Anyway.
Poison sacks. Who knows?
Could you imagine?
It's a lot of poison. I'm pretty sure that is corrupted Nautilus in front of her even. And he's already a big boy.
Oh, shit.
Oh, is it really?
Could be.
Interesting.
It's hard to tell, but...
Could be. Who knows? Only Rosen. Next up we got Project Program. Among the megastructures and packed streets of a future controlled by global corporations, a shadow war rages between rebellious augmented humans and newly empowered artificial beings. The winners will shape the course of history, and the losers will be forced to evolve. And this one is Program Nami. An aquatic search and rescue medbot whose manufacturer was acquired in an aggressive corporate takeover, Nami has been irreversibly changed by the directives of Program. For now, she continues in her primary function, though her behavior has become increasingly erratic.
I'm liking these because they're not all, like you said, it's not all like Diana but with a cowgirl setup. It's like there's some differences here. It's neat.
Yeah. Next up, we got Immortal Journey. Long ago, in an ancient land, many souls gathered beneath the gods to test the limits of their power. Foolish and arrogant, brave and just, their journeys are written into the immortal pages of history. And this is Splendid Staff Nami. When the demigoddess Aurelia was bested by a heavenly empress, the seal over Talon's draconic power began to weaken, allowing some of his magic to leak into the world. Once a mere fish who dreamed of being a dragon, Nami has received some of this power and has found her true form beginning to awaken.
Not much going on in that one.
She was fish. Now she's a people. or a dragon. Or dragon-like.
She's got a really long hand.
She does. She also just kind of looks like people.
She does just look like people with back problems.
Damn, she does have a long hand. God damn.
You're right.
Well, it used to be a fin, right? I guess you can't blame her.
Now we got Event Horizon. In the vast darkness of space are born terrible, beautiful things, cosmic creatures of sublime love and the unknowable monstrosities of the Dark Star.
Oh, shit.
These are the children of silent gods, and they are finally coming home.
This is one that you do so much that I can almost recite part of that with you.
Yeah.
This one's Cosmic Destiny Nami. The bringer of life, Nami is charged with scattering the seeds of Elan Vital on the newborn, cold, lifeless rocks and planets that appear with the birth of new stars and constellations. And fun fact about this one, all the 2020 Event Horizon skins are modeled after real-life constellations, and Nami is modeled after the Pisces constellation. So, now you know that. Take that to the bank.
Sure. You said a phrase just now, Elan Vital. I feel like that's the first I've ever heard of that in reference to this AU.
It is in quotes, and it is not used again.
Okay. Cool. I'm just making sure
it means something, for sure.
Gotcha. Cool.
Maybe to be expanded upon later. I know we don't get a whole lot of the lifey half of the Dark Star.
Yeah, it's true.
And the last skin is Harrowing, which is their Halloween line, and this is Bewitching Nami. Bobbing for apples is certainly a lot more challenging when Nami brings the tides with her to the party. The apples don't bite back, but the pumpkin fish sure do.
I always love the description of the harrowing skins. Oy. Right. That's it.
Yeah, I got a handful of fun facts for you, though. You want some fun facts?
Only if they're fun.
All right, well, I won't read them then.
Oh, no.
They're just okay. Nami is voiced by Cassandra Lee Morris, who also voices Yumi and Chip.
Oh.
That's cool.
For all us Chip stands out there who... there
Love
are way
Beauty and
more
the
than I
Beast.
expected because, man, y'all came at me.
What did you do wrong again?
Oh, I didn't mention him enough in the Malphite episode.
Oh.
Oh, okay. Well, that's Runeterra, it's,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Fuck you, guys.
How dare you love this adorable little critter.
Nami and Fiddlesticks are the only two champions to speak a word while laughing.
Oh.
Oh, weird. What does she say? Do you know?
She says, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like that.
I didn't know that. Neat.
Mm-hmm.
Nami is over 180 years old.
Ancient.
Her entire lore, I don't know how familiar y'all are with this, but the entire story kind of resembles the plot of Dinotopia, but with a moonstone instead of a
What?
sunstone and the void instead of ancient man-made ruins.
That's not at all what I thought you were going to say. I thought you were going to say
Google
Naruto or some
Dinotopia
other
real quick.
fucking thing. Not Dinotopia.
What the hell is this?
I don't even know what the...
Oh, y'all didn't get into Dinotopia growing up?
No.
We weren't dino heads.
Okay. It was a series of fantasy books published in the early 90s. For children, I assume.
Dope.
That's what I was in the early
Dope
90s.
ref.
Dude, there's also a live-action television miniseries and a short-lived
Which I never
live-action TV series in 2000. I don't know.
Damn, which I definitely...
I know what I'm watching next.
Right?
Now I'm deep in
Now
the
you're deep in-
Dinotopia.
I'll move on. When playing Nami, if you type hat in the store search, the result displayed will be the Boots of Speed, referencing The Little Mermaid.
Oh, wow. Man, that's a...
All the images from this show look really
Cute.
stellar.
You're stuck in the Dinotopia wormhole, man.
Oh, wait,
Gotta pull you out.
We call it the Dino Loop. Don't look in too deep.
Dino.
The Dino.
During Splendid Staff Nami's recall, she transforms her fins into human legs, which makes it the first Nami skin to actually show her with legs instead of fins.
Oh, man. That's neat.
Yeah. Last one.
Yo, the guy from Prison Break is in this.
I told you gotta get out of the dino hole, man.
The main guy from Prison Break was in Dinotopia. Sorry. I think
We'll do a Dinotopia bonus episode or something.
Oh my god, this would be a great Patreon episode where we watch Dinotopia, please. There's two of them.
Tangentially
Also, Eric Von
lore-related.
Denton is in the other one, who I had a huge crush on when I was a kid.
What's he in?
He was in So Weird. He was in The Princess Diaries. He was the love
okay.
interest. Well, not the love interest. He was like the douchey, popular, hot guy.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right, and my last fun fact that is not Dinotopia related. She was almost going to be named Romlariel after Trevor Classic Romlesky's last name combined with Ariel.
I'm glad they moved away from
I'm glad they... Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nami was way better.
Yeah.
Smart move there, Riot.
Yeah. I feel like we learned from Blizzard that naming characters after people, not the way to go.
I mean,
I mean, frankly, we've learned that from Riot, even, honestly.
But yeah, that's
right.
that's Nami.
that was Nami.
Yes,
I do-
yes, Nami.
Nami, and that's Dinotopia.
Right? We'll have
Welcome to our
we can dig into
Dinotopia
Dino.
fan cast.
I do have fun facts related to Runeterra. It's just
Oh
one.
shit! Hit
Or
us
it's
with
two,
it.
really. So there are a couple of cards in Runeterra where she does seem to... It seems like there are a couple of like other Mirai who she is in some sort of romantic relationship with.
Oh.
A guy and a lady. I don't remember their names. It's like Lido and something else or something like that. I don't play a lot of like Nami and Runeterra. But it seems like maybe that's something that they at least established there. Obviously, it doesn't have any bearing on her lore whatsoever. But if they did a short story, it would be neat to see that get more development as like that's what she's left behind to go do her journey. Would be that she got some, some people on the Widow's Walk or whatever waiting for her to come home.
Now you said a few people. Is this like an underwater throuple?
It seems to be. Yeah, I don't remember the names of them because it's like voice line interactions. I don't remember the cards either. I'm sure someone who's more into it will be able to give them. But yeah.
Yeah.
Just something that I think they added with her release in Runeterra.
So. Well, if you know more about it, folks, teach us in the Discord about Nami Mommy.
That's all I got. That's the little thing I saw pop up for Runeterra.
Alrighty. That was
Sweet.
Nami.
That was Nami.
Thank you for listening. We have a Twitter. It's @Loreheads. And we have a Twitch, twitch.tv/Loreheads. We generally stream Saturdays. It's been a weird few weeks. And John does TFT on Mondays. Won't be going on for much longer, but we'll figure out a schedule eventually afterwards. We also have a YouTube where we post these, and John has some parody songs. And we have a Discord. You can join it for some really great discussions about Dinotopia. We have a Patreon as well. Thank you so much to all of our patrons.
But a very special thank you to our Medarda and All Chat tier patrons. Chloe Things, Great Scott 9, King of Hearts, Mylect, Rel, Shupa Moustache, and The Void Event is here! Maybe. You were all great, and if you were Void Emerald or Void Pearls, I would dive underwater to rescue you.
Nice.
But not if they were Void Emeralds. Emeralds?
Not Void Emeralds. If you were Void Emeralds, that's Sonic's job. Also, real quick, just wanted to throw this in here. Egg also just messaged me and said that their names are Loto and Tama. Are the other.
Thank you.
Yeah, she is a bisexual, polyamorous relationship with those two.
Hell yeah.
Mm.
Where's that icon, Riot? Or that emote? Alrighty. Well, that's all. And be sure to join us next week, because we're going to go in a very opposite direction, back to Shurima, to talk about the Curator of the Sands, Nasus.